and welcome to episode 102 of the ITSM crowd. I still can't quite believe we're into triple figures, but there you go. I think this t-shirt's making a repeat appearance, so I might have to vary my wardrobe a little bit. We are still in our evolution of service management series of episodes. So we've already had some fantastic chats about things like SIAM, Verism. Last episode, we touched on experience level agreements. And today we're going to look at experience from a different perspective. And I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Simon Morris and Paloma Garcia from ServiceNow. If you haven't heard of ServiceNow, might have been living under a rock for the last few years. It's dominant in that service management tool space. Not to say that other service management tools are not fantastic, but the customers that they work with, the reach that they've got, gives them some really interesting insights. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with them. And what I'm going to do is just ask them to kick off with an introduction, a little bit about themselves, where they've come from, how long they've been in the service management space. So Simon, I'll come to you first, please.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. And congratulations on over 100 episodes. Am I allowed to say long-term listener, first-time caller? Is that way too cheesy for
I love
the
it.
audience? No, but congratulations. I mean, you've been putting that message out there for so long, and 100 episodes is a real achievement. So I really enjoyed the 100th episode, the bumper-sized one with Rob England. It was good to see him again.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And I really appreciate this invite today. Thanks for including myself and my colleague Paloma. So my name's Simon. I work for ServiceNow, as you said. You asked how long we've been in the industry, and I've been at ServiceNow over 10 years now, which is an incredible statistic because the company I joined 10 years ago, although it's represented really in the purpose and the culture and the ethos, the activities we do and the things that we engage in day to day are really different over 10 years, as you'd expect. So when I started in 2011, of course, ITIL V3 was the big thing, and everyone was really excited about the possibilities that could bring. And I think the company's grown, and the industry's certainly grown so much in 10 years. But it's a good indication that it's actually still a really relevant thing to be talking about. Service management principles, getting work done better. These are really important topics, even after 10 years. It's not a solved problem for our customers today by a long shot. But it is really encouraging to see the conversation shift into value change and experience and the more humanistic side of dealing with work, which we're really passionate about at ServiceNow. So thanks for the invite. And Paloma, who are you and how are you going to introduce yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Paloma Garcia. I'm one of the senior managers within the social consultant here at ServiceNow. I'm very passionate about this topic. I was told to be here in less than 24 hours, so wish me good luck. I'm very passionate about this topic because the aim of my team is to create great experiences from our customers. I've been 15 years working and specializing in different areas of IT and also security, and I look forward to this conversation.
Fantastic, thank you. And for anybody who's watching and is slightly confused because they were expecting Chris Pope and we've got Paloma here instead, Chris had a last-minute clash, so we are incredibly grateful to Paloma for standing in. So
does the word upgrade come to mind? I mean,
by all means, that nothing, you cannot compare the two. So like nothing towards that level, but I'll do my best today.
And listen, we'll take the opportunity to embarrass Chris because Chris left ServiceNow a short time ago, and when they write the story about ServiceNow, there'll be a great white Pope chapter. So we miss Chris.
Great white Pope.
Obviously, we wish him well, and it's a shame he's not here. But Paloma, thanks for jumping in last minute.
Yeah, massively appreciated. So I mentioned in the intro that we've already done an XLA episode. We've got another experience episode coming up. I think our next one as well. And I just wanted to kind of start by asking you what experience means to you and why it's so important, because it seems to be a buzzword that's just growing in momentum, and to get your perspective from the platform side of things as well, I think would be very interesting.
Yeah. Why does experience matter? Why is it important? I think to really dig into that question, maybe we can elevate the question find a higher purpose. And we could say, why does work matter at all? Because we're really talking about experience, from a narrow point of view, ITSM, or a broader point of view, service management. But it's really, take the broadest view. Why does work matter? And we spend a lot of time at work. We're at work now, all three of us. Work gives us purpose. It provides for our family. It gives us skills. It keeps me away from daytime TV. It keeps me busy during the day. But work is a really important activity, as we all understand. But too much of our time at work is spent doing repetitive, low value, grunt work, grind work, which doesn't really interest us or fulfill that purpose. When we come to work, we like to create value for our colleagues and for our customers and for our partners. We like to build relationships and do things with high empathy. We like to do problem solving. And these are all areas where computers aren't so good, building relationships and showing empathy. It's where humans are particularly good. But we tend to take amazing human beings and then treat them like machines by doing low value, repetitive work. So I think work is important. I think we have to recognize that at work, the experience isn't always great. The work we're asked to do, the way we experience work at work, has a lot of room for improvement. So I think it's a very wide topic. It's certainly wider than just IT, service management, or service management. It's about, what is it like to come to work and be productive and feel you're living your best life, you're doing your best work, you're fulfilling your purpose. This is all about experience, I think, in my point of view.
Yeah.
What do you think, Paloma?
I love that. I think I like to take a different approach on this. In the last 24 hours, I've been thinking about this topic. I've been thinking about how experience relates to more and more well-being. If you think about what many organizations are looking to do, a 4-day working week, because they want people to be more motivated, increase performance, and ultimately growth. I'm a millennial, and millennials represent more than 50% of the workforce, and they are more pressuring organizations around well-being topics. And the other, so on a personal perspective, I think it's started to be linked more to well-being, and then from a corporate perspective, I think the market's been very commoditized. In every aspect of the technology, there is more competition, it's much more fragmented. And I feel the only way to differentiate yourself is to making it more personable, linking back to experience, easy to work with. And Simon talks about this, making it more meaningful. And I think, and also you need to meet your clients where they want to meet. This last point is very important. So some members of my team look after the manufacturing sector. So when it comes to automating areas of the factory floor, if the employees haven't got a mobile phone, then it doesn't make sense to use an application to enhance their processes, because they might have only one sealed mobile and not everyone will have access to it. So you need to meet your clients where they're at.
Yep. I think that's very true, and keep the comments coming, everybody. I can see the chat, and great to have you all with us. I think just worth bringing this one up from Simone. The daytime TV with repetitive formula scripts, is that what we're trying to change now in IT? I think that reflects what you were saying quite nicely there.
Yes. The other thing I was thinking about is like, and maybe the audience can help us define this a little bit more. It's like, when people have had a great day, is because they feel very productive and they feel they didn't have to spend, in my case, the whole day, 8 hours addressing a mundane task, such as getting access to an account on a website, or you've been able to do something very complex in a very easy way. For instance, trying to get an answer to a commission query, but just reviewing a knowledge-based article by reflecting this by a catalog item or something like that. So clearly for that contributes to well-being. And for me, that has been a productive day, right? So it'll be good to hear from the audience. How would you define that productive day? When they feel productive, what happened on that day?
I think you've spoken, Paloma, about well-being, and I think a lot of people who watch this show or work in the IT service management industry won't draw the link between a bad experience and how it really affects people on a very personal level. But when we speak to customers and we advocate for great experiences at work, it's kind of what we like to talk about. It really does have an impact on people. If you're doing the same task, you're on a service desk and you're dealing with issues or tickets or whatever you want to call them on a high volume, repetitive basis, you have got the ability to really uplift people by removing a lot of the friction in the experience. So it comes back to, what is it like to experience work? Not only what are the tasks I've been given to do, but what is the level of friction involved in doing them? And I think we shouldn't underestimate actually how much we can improve people's lives at work by removing the repetitive work, giving them the ability to elevate themselves and spend more time doing the things that they want to do.
Mm. And how effective are organisations at doing that? Because I have worked with companies who've been, desperate to introduce chatbots, for example, without having everything that needs to be in place behind the scenes in order for that to be effective. So what elements of ServiceNow are customers using in order to enable that, and how's it going for them?
So let's start with the most important person in the room, and that's the customer. Okay, and every organization on earth is here to provide value for their customers. And I think without fail, business leaders want to provide a 5-star experience for their customer. No one's going to go out there and say, I don't care about the customer experience. Paloma, you said earlier, in a very competitive market, how do you differentiate? And a lot of services and products are becoming commodities. They're becoming very much like each other. And it's a lot easier to differentiate your offering through amazing services or an amazing service experience rather than compete on features and functions of your product. So businesses are looking towards the service domain as a leading business differentiator to create value, retain customers, upsell customers, increase customer loyalty. These are all business imperatives, and the service experience can really help. So business leaders are saying, I want my customer to have a 5-star experience. How can you achieve that if the person providing the experience has a 1-star or a 2-star experience? It's never going to work. And we need our people involved in supplying service and providing service to their customers to have the best experience out there. They are the gateway to the customer. Frustrated service workers do not make for happy customers. People that are engaged in low value activities or swivel chairing, having a really hard day, don't make for happy customers at the end of the phone or whatever that medium is. So if you want to start with the customer and give that customer a great experience, I think you have to start with your people. And it's about the service workers. It's about the employee experience. It's about making people feel they can do their best work at your company rather than going to the company down the street who perhaps are offering 10% more on salary. People want to stay to do their best work, and the experience is part of that. But there are a lot of headwinds, I think, in making the experience great. Fragmented systems. Paloma, what do you think about these headwinds for our customers providing a great experience?
I think there's an element of trust, right? It's almost like Claire mentioned the chatbots. We don't trust, and it happens to me as well. So recently, I had to book some flights for an event. I booked the wrong flights, as you would do somehow, and then I realized that I had to change it, and I was dreading, that your default option, kind of like your unconscious bias, is that you're dreading, like, oh, I need to make a phone call, right? We're kind of not used to it. So it's like, I was dreading having to call someone, and someone said, no, you don't have to call anyone. Just go to the website and talk to a virtual agent and get it changed. And it's like, great, let's do it. And then I talked about this experience because it was great. I was actually doing on a Zoom call. I went into the website, entered my details. It should have been a Monday. I booked it on a Sunday. Can you book this flight? And then somehow it went idle. I disconnected. But by the time I got back, the flights were booked. I couldn't believe it. It was great. 30 seconds it took me. I think that leap of faith, sometimes we're not used to it. And actually, it worked on my mental health and well-being. So I think that plays a part as well, that trust element.
And I think, because got a question here from Simone to say, 5-star isn't the same price as 2-star. You were talking about 5-star service there, Simon. But I think to touch on your point, Paloma, as well, we've got this concept at the moment of COVID customer service, where, you know, every company that you have to engage with, it seems to be much harder work at the moment. And how much impact have you seen in terms of the pandemic in, you know, customers having to digitize rapidly, in terms of, you know, enabling that working from home employee experience? What, I guess the short question is, you know, do you see that things have got better or worse? Are they snapping back to how they were pre-pandemic?
Well, although ServiceNow is a software company, fundamentally we're a digital transformation company. We deliver transformations for our customers, and when we see customers that want to keep everything the same but change the tool, we kind of get nervous about those customers. Of course, they're still our customers and we value them, but fundamentally people come to us because there is a transformation to be made. It's been a really, really tough couple of years. I think we have to recognize that. We have customers in the airline industry, and it was just, you know, existential worries, I think, for that industry. Would they ever come back to the way they've been? ServiceNow, you know, we're very lucky that we're in an industry where we could prosper through the pandemic, but not all of our customers were in that privileged position. I don't want to talk down the economy or have a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it might be we're about to navigate through another couple of years of economic, you know, uncertainty, and businesses hate uncertainty. But I think the reality is, unless you're prepared to transform in the short term, you're not going to be competitive in the medium term. And if you're not competitive in the medium term, you're not going to be around in the long term. So although we've been through COVID, it's been really tough, and we're going through maybe an economic rough patch, I think customers are looking to pursue these digital transformation programs because they recognize that it's about transforming today to be competitive, so you are around at the end of this period. Customers that had no plans to transform at the beginning of COVID, they had no chance of migrating to work from home or taking advantage of the opportunities that COVID gave. It's weird to talk about COVID in terms of opportunities. It was so awful. But a lot of companies squeezed in 5 years of transformation into a 2-year period. You can't argue with that. But it's only the ones that had that transformational mindset that were able to go on the journey. The ones that didn't have any intentions of transforming, I wonder whether they're going to be around at the end of this next rough period. So I think there are opportunities. I read the comment there, you know, the prices of 2-star versus 5-star. It's a great point. You get what you pay for. But when you're talking about unlocking potential in people who are your most expensive assets and also your least measurable assets, you can measure everything else about the business rather than the people. It is a journey worth going on to try and elevate people to do their best work. And a lot of our work at ServiceNow is about measuring the potential value and measuring the realized value of a transformation. So, yeah, it is hard to equate 2 to 5-star service, but we do believe the transformational effort is worth it.
Yeah. I think from my view and the impact on the pandemic has been, and I don't think we talk enough about it, is the complexities in the supply chain. And recently I read an article on the Financial Times that talks about how the advances in technology have introduced many complexities in the supply chain. It has reduced cost, but introduce other challenges. So today we can order anything, anywhere we are, you know, at the comfort of our homes, whilst waiting for the plane. But that means that has diluted the accountability and ownership. You know, when you have a problem with your seller, that's when it becomes challenging. That separation between the buyers and the sellers has increased. And we've seen that many customers that have shifted from B2B to B2C during the pandemic because they weren't getting the support they needed from that middle layer, and they had to go directly into the source. And then when we work with the many managed service providers that ask us how to provide that transparency across your suppliers, across your vendors, across your consumers. And we often talk about, you know, your MSPs have customers that also are customers. So we can provide that bi-directional communication to smooth that interaction so they don't have to, we can reduce a hop in between, basically. So I think supply chain is another topic that plays against that experience and adoption as well.
And I want to bring in just a couple of comments from Matt here, because hello, Matt, nice to see you. So Matt says experience management gives businesses a path to iteratively and programmatically start adapting to human needs. But then to agree with you, Simon, that you can't measure people, experience management gives us a way to adapt to people without having to measure them. And I just, we have this kind of distance now, especially with the shift to working from home for a lot of knowledge workers. We've lost a lot of the standard feedback loops. The grumbling in the office, it's too hot, it's too cold, we've run out of coffee in the canteen. And it is something that I wanted to touch on, is in terms of being able to somehow measure and improve that employee experience. What role can the software play in that? What techniques are you using, and what are you seeing your customers getting value from?
Yeah, I think great to see Matt's name. I've been in and around Matt Bowen for another 10 years, so it's great to see his name on this.
Like a famous person from
It is
Twitter,
like a
and
little,
Simone as well. I love
I
it.
know, they've all come out of the woodwork, all these celebrities in the service management space. I stand by it. It's hard to measure people, but it doesn't mean we can't try. These are excuses, not reasons why it can't be done. It is hard to measure people. We at ServiceNow have a system and a routine called the Employee Voice Survey, where we talk to our employees. We have aggregate data about how people are feeling with regards to their engagement. So you can measure how are people engaged, and you wouldn't believe the impact that tools and processes have on engagement. Because again, if your day is spent with a lot of stress and you're worried you're not doing your best work and living your best life and fulfilling your purpose, it has a real impact on how you feel about your job, how engaged you are, how open you are to talking to other companies about what it's like to be there. So I think tools are a huge part of it. We have to realize as kind of technologists that the concept of building a ornate, beautiful walled garden experience in a web portal and then just expecting them to come along in an orderly line to use our portal has failed after kind of 15, 20 years of trying to do that. We have to go with our service experience to where people are today. And typically that's not in a web portal. It's going to be in Teams or Slack. It's going to be on WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be in the channels that they choose to use rather than the ones that we choose are best for them. I think that's a real humbling moment where we have to listen to our customers and bring our experience to where they're already having a party. They can't come necessarily to our party. So I think technology platforms have a big role to play in that. We're seeing the experience duration come way down. People are spending 10 minutes in a portal if they went there to try and resolve an issue. They were spending 20 minutes face-to-face with a technician. Now people want their answer in one sentence on a chatbot. What's the policy on X, Y, and Z? And the chatbot needs to give it back to them in a couple of seconds. That's a really short service experience time, and it's a real challenge, I think, for technology platforms to meet the expectations. But we have to, because as Paloma said about her flights, the levels people will go through to live with a problem or avoid talking to a service domain are extraordinary. They'll do anything rather than avoid getting help if the service experience isn't great for them.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, look, the EVS result, I think one of the things that we discussed prior to this is that I feel organizations really need to define how improving experience will benefit the organization. How we ever define that? I don't think we've spent enough time. So there is a model introduced by Sir John Whitmore. It's called the performance curve.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks at the maturity of a company's behaviors and the cultural mindset. And he says, once you understand the link between the current mindset and the performance, you're able to move forward. You're able to introduce change. He talks about the awareness being very curative. So unless you have the awareness on your culture, you won't be able to change. So before you embark on that measuring your experience, it's important to start with the end in mind,
Mm-hmm.
what you're trying to achieve, and work backwards towards it. And I really like that concept, because sometimes we always run into the solution. but take a step back and think about how that is going to benefit your organization. Do you understand the culture and the performance today to be able to move into the end state?
Yeah, and comment here from Eric, thank you for this, is that a lot of experience focuses on customer interactions and service delivery, but for the workers, it's the process interactions that kill their souls. Getting an email that a form was not filled out right is a terrible experience, and trying to work out what was wrong and do it again. And yeah, I mean, gosh, I hope this happens less and less now, but you know, you're seeing this demand for automation right down to the service management processes as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And, you know, service management is a key capability of any organization. But I think we need to separate service management as a different problem domain to service experience. And when you separate those two things out, I think you find some goodness in that definition. So service management is about the ingestion of work, modeling it through to a conclusion, all the performance metrics and the workflows and the automation. But service experience, I think, is a different problem domain. What is it like? It's not user interface, it's design, it's how it makes you feel. As Simon Sinek says, people won't remember what you do or how you do it, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And that's a key point of experience. And it's really a different problem to solve in some ways than the management of the service. So service experience and service management are different areas in my mind, at least.
Yeah. I think Eric mentioned the question around email. So when are we going to get rid of email, right? Because it can sound, maybe sound in the audience, because I remember 10 years ago, I had a CTO who used to tell me, in 10 years time, we're going to get rid of emails. It's going to be all social. And I couldn't believe it. It's like, no, we're never going to get rid, like, that's never going to happen. He said, yes. And I'm very disappointed that he's not right, but that's the question. Like, when are we because in nowadays 2022, we rely on email so much, like to talk externally with customers, right? So what's the next? I think that's the next thing. What's the next thing for us to be able to use another social platform or any different channel to get rid of email? Because you know, as Eric mentioned, it's still a problem.
It is, but look at what's wrong with email. It's about the relevance, but it's also about the control. As the receiver of the email, I have no control over when you're going to hit send. It just pops up in my mailbox and it disrupts my flow patterns. And Paloma, you know, I've got a rule for your emails that goes straight into a particular folder that I check very rarely. But all of the power is on the sender, none of the power is on the recipient. I think it's a great example of a service experience. Give the power to the people. How do I want to receive information on my terms at my time? I think email is fundamentally broken because all of the power is with the sender. I can't stop you sending me an email unless I filter you out, which is an interesting idea, isn't it?
Oh, amazing discussion that, I think, and one that we could actually carry on with. I would be on the kill email bandwagon, definitely. But we have reached the end of our time. It has flown as always. I'm going to pop Simone's comment up on screen because I love this. I think it's worth reflecting on. But Simon and Paloma, any last tips, any resources you want to point people to, any books that you've enjoyed in this area, any last things that you want to share?
Simon, you first.
Thank you, Paloma. I've recently come across a methodology, part of design thinking, part of that kind of staple of human-orientated design, and the methodology is called service blueprinting. It's a fast-growing but quite small kind of movement, I suppose. But in the work we do at ServiceNow, talking to our customers about design and experience and about service management, it's a great methodology. And the reason I love it so much is it doesn't only focus on what it's like for the user. It focuses on how is this going to affect the front stage, the backstage, the people fulfilling the process. Because if we over-orientate all the way to the user, which sounds like a good thing, we want sustainable processes that work for the business and work for the people as well. So if you're going to Google something on the back of today's episode, have a look at service blueprinting. I think it's the new way to think about designing and improving services.
Thank you. And Paloma?
Brilliant. I think from my side, based on what we discussed today, always think about it's very easy to take that inside view of this is my problem, this is my challenge. We need to start getting the sentiment from our customers, from our suppliers, whoever the third party would be. Try and start thinking about them first before you start thinking about your inside view. And yeah, I think we'll have a better world.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much. Wide-ranging discussion and a lot to think about, but thank you to everybody who's been commenting and putting in their feedback as well. It's lovely to have that extra interaction. Our next episode is on the 14th of July, same time, so 4 p.m. BST. And I'm joined by Lisa Schwartz and Donna Knapp from ITSM Academy, who are service management stalwarts. And we're going to chat about the evolution of ITSM full stop, what we've seen in our careers from ITIL version 2 all the way through to where we are today. So that's going to be a fun episode as well. But huge thank you to our guests, Simon and Paloma. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who's been watching, and we will see you on the next episode of the ITSM Crowd. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Take care.